Cathie Wood is dumping Bitcoin for Ethereum. Today, we'll break it down for you, give you guys a full insight. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back in Attack Path. Let's get started today. I do want to thank our sponsor, Coinbase. If you guys want to get started in crypto, and this is the place to do it, Coinbase. All you have to do is go over there, sign up. It's very simple. And the cool thing here is whether you're a business or an individual, you guys can all start and get up to $200 in crypto to start your journey. And really where the market is right now, these are great entry points. So maybe this is the time for you to sign up into Coinbase and get into crypto for the very first time. Check it out. Use our link down below. It does help the channel. All right, we'll go over to a couple of topics. ARK Invest swaps nearly 9 million of its own Bitcoin ETF, its own Bitcoin ETF for Coinbase. So all that being said, you got to look at the outflows of where ETFs have been going. And of course, we have this stacked version right here of both Bitcoin and ETH. As you can see right there on the chart, ETH holding the line with institutional capital, where what we are seeing in terms of outflows for the last couple of days on Bitcoin, very significant. Of course, the price of Bitcoin has been falling as we talk and record about this today. So this is a factor that everybody's looking at. I want to go to a clip real quick because this is getting into what's happening over at ETHDenver. And this is pretty cool. Take a look.
So again, 10 minutes. Actually, I think we're already breaking the record. By the time of this presentation, we've reduced the time from 10 minutes to actually someone timed it on Twitter to build an app in under 3 minutes.
Okay, first of all, 3 minutes. I gotta see it to believe it. But right here, if you go over to base.org and builders, you guys get a chance to build an app, launch an AI agent, accept crypto payments. The cool thing is that this is drawing in a heavy level of developers. And that's what Cathie Wood says all the time, as do I. Follow the developers. If you follow the developers, you're going to see the amount of growth. And Cathie has been on a couple of Bitcoin maxi shows recently. This one was one that they did with a whole slew of Bitcoin maxis. And I've got a clip from this show that explains a little bit more of the questions she was asking, maybe what's getting into her thesis. Take a look.
Because we're proof of work, there are very legitimate counterparty risks. When all of your chips are coming from one place, if too many people, God forbid, are using the same third-party provider and there's a security gap.
Given the philosophy of the Bitcoin community and, how important decentralization is, I have been struck that we've been talking about this for a while, but I was shocked at how much came out of China, and I am still shocked at how much comes out of China. But it's like, why?
The whole mining industry is doing them no favors at all. It's an adversarial relationship, actually.
Why?
And the manufacturers. I don't know. It's insane.
I think we have an important addendum here. Because we will be wrong by just from an investment point of view saying this is a commoditized industry. It's there aren't going to be very many interesting investments in it.
You could build this and sell this, start a business selling these, or you could change it up and if you have a different idea or you want to use different chips, like the next version of this will have the Intel chips on it. So we got a lot of cool stuff happening here, and it still feels like the beginning.
I think we have a really creative white paper to write, Lorenzo.
Bitcoin loves white papers, so there you go.
It's going to happen fast.
All right. I can't wait to start talking about it in the media, and I will.
All right, so there you have it. I mean, ARK is trying to reposition around this, but you could see there's a little bit of the scenario and questions being asked around, whether it's hardware centralization, all the things that we have seen around this in the future. With that being said, and many times these, major investment groups kind of go with their actions, they're also following a lot of what's happening on the regulation side. So, of course, this is a timeline of the Trump effect. You got David Sachs and Hester Peirce right there, who is head of the Crypto Task Force and the White House AI and Crypto Czar. A lot has happened in a very short period of time. And you'll notice something, guys, here, that most of this is in reference to digital assets as a whole. And when you look at the digital asset space, you're going to have to consider Ethereum because of its size and what it's been able to do. Additionally to that, you look at some of the key things that have been happening, not only from the legislative front, but also just from the cases being dropped. Uniswap, SEC drops their case. against Uniswap. And of course, we saw a little bit of movement on the Uniswap thing, but I think the bigger thing here is when you look at ARK in general and where she's starting to place her holdings. And even right here, you can kind of see a little bit of the movement that has been taking place within ARK, also moving into Robinhood. So again, another centralized exchange and the power of being and having access to so many of these altcoins and Ethereum-based ecosystems. So definitely a big one. Other things to watch out is their Big Ideas 2025 report. If you haven't read it, go check it out. But their table of contents had a new entry, and that was it right there. Stablecoins. One other area in the report you'll notice here is applications seeking lower fees, greater efficiency. Point being is that everything's pointing to Solana and Ethereum. If you look at Base, Coinbase Wallet, all of this playing into the future of where this is going. And this also leverages into her whole position around DeFi, which is a big part of this. And if you look at just in general, the amount of transactions and the cost to make those transactions occur, ETH is really doing a lot to try to lower that cost. So even though we will have lower cost transactions wise, the key here, and this is why layer 2s are important, if you go back to that chart, layer 2 is very important, Arbitrum-based Polygon, because of the fact of just pure transactions. So even though we have a lot of developers, lower gas fees, we're still going to need those layer 2s to continue to see those transaction loads be able to go forward. All right, that being said, you got to look at what's happening over on Solana. Pump got funds, X account got hacked, so more of that negativeness. And I think when you look at Solana, what I don't understand yet is why we haven't seen the Solana teams really start to push out, you know, the greater good idea of crypto. And I think Solana has always been behind that, but of late, it's been mostly a meme coin factory for the growth of what's been going on within Solana. You look at Ethereum, and you kind of consider, well, the nearest competitor right now is Solana when it comes to developers. But if you go in and add the stack in here in terms of layer 2s, along with ETH, and you can see there, it's hands down the place. And as we've talked before, Cathie Wood has said before, follow the developers, follow the developers. This is a clip coming out of the Bank of America CEO talking about possibly a stablecoin incoming as well. Take a look.
It's pretty clear there's going to be a stable coin, which is going to be a fully dollar-backed, which is no different than a money market fund with check access, is no different than a bank account, really. And so if they make that legal, we'll go into that business. So you'll have a Bank of America coin and a US dollar deposit, and we'll be able to move them back and forth because now it hasn't been legal for us to do it, but it's just then like another foreign currency. The question of what it's useful for is going to be interesting.
All right, so you're going to have to keep a real close eye on this because, as I've said before, we're going to see JP Morgan coin, BoA coin, all these kind of scenarios playing into it. We've already started to see this play out within other organizations, and even countries, I think, will come online with stable coins. But you look at what's happening right now, you got private credit absolutely spiking right now on the global market. And this, of course, will get into where the total RWA market cap could be. And of course, stablecoins is going to be a super big part of this. So with the point that you see there with the B of A, you got to take a look at Ripple because this roadmap is getting into private credit. I think we're going to see a lot more coming out of Ripple. And even if in comparison, I mean, you think about this is number 3 token, the roadmap in comparison to what we've seen out of Bitcoin, this is the challenge. And I think maybe Cathie Wood is starting to catch these nuances and beginning to understand where that narrative needs to play. So watching her 2025 Big Ideas report is pretty big deal. With that, here is a clip from ETHDenver and why DeFi is about to explode. Take a look.
Benchmarking against what we're seeing with traditional payment processors, you know, we have Visa, MasterCard, and American Express up here, and stablecoins at large are driving trillions of dollars in activity. Even though we might not see it and feel it in our day-to-day, there really is like steam picking up here. Another big number, but I stand by this. So treasury bills alone is a $28 trillion asset class. Global bond market is worth $130 trillion. These are just two types of assets, and we're already talking like hundreds of trillions of dollars. And we're already seeing some of the world's leaders, like Larry Fink, who manages $11 trillion of assets. He's like on CNBC saying, I want the SEC to legalize the tokenizations of stocks and bonds today. He knows if it was programmatic, they would make way more money. Their margins would be way wider. After treasury bills, we're going to see this next stage where bonds and stocks are moved on chain. And this is going to, like, very importantly, be able to serve normal people.
All right, with that, as you can see, DeFi clearly is going to take over, I think, all of capital in general and what we know as the traditional finance system. You look at this statement right here, and this is something I've alluded to in the past, is that if you had Blackrock potentially trying to fork Bitcoin, mainly to monopolize what they've done according to the SEC, but more about innovation. You know, they're trying to get something going. What we're seeing happening over on the ETH ecosystem, that could happen in this kind of scenario. So if BlackRock were to get into a position where they had enough centralized control, remember, they get to vote on all of that access because they're holding those assets. So that is a very intriguing position. All right, so you got to follow the money a little bit. While everybody in the market seems to be panicking, right now we've got World Liberty Fi. This is Trump absolutely going out here and just buying more Bitcoin or buying more Ethereum over and over. You can kind of see more inserts. And when you look at the holdings by chain right now, Ethereum is the one that pretty much takes over. And again, this is a factor, I think, overall, if you look at Donald Trump himself, holding by chains right there, I mean, this is like a 10x compared to other chains out there. So clearly there's some writing on the wall, definitely something to keep an eye on as well. I've got another clip for you, and this is Cathie Wood talking about the underrated big ideas, which makes me lean in on Bitcoin for Ethereum. Take a look.
In terms of big ideas, I think the most underappreciated application of AI is healthcare. While robo-taxis might be the biggest application short-term, $10 trillion in the whole ecosystem over the next 5 to 10 years, we think the most profound application is in healthcare.
Is there something comparable in the medical applications of AI?
Well, I think you have to look at the sequencing technology.
All right, so there may be something there. I won't say that I think Cathie is maybe going down the wrong direction, because you got to look at the where the money is and where the transactions potentially could be in healthcare. And there's really only a handful of places. One of them, of course, is in the primary area of insurance. United Healthcare, this is still a $450 billion company. Even with this most recent SEC investigation, they're going to continue to be that way. Now, could this sector be disrupted by blockchain? We think so. And let me go to this clip, because this is going to explain this and why this could happen. Take a look.
United Healthcare set up an AI that denied 90% of the claims that came its way. Why is that? Because, hey, the longer they hold on to your money, the longer they're getting profits off of your money sitting in their vaults and sitting in their coffers. What's currently happening? When you send $100 to the health insurance company, usually only about 50% is actually going to paying for your doctor and your pharmacy stuff. They buy in bulk and then sell you the individual price. They're incentivized to have as much administration as possible. And then at the very top of this awful stack is endless profit taking at the top. You really only need 3 pieces to have an insurance company. You need to have a network, you need to have claims administration, and you need to have a ton of money. All that you're doing is removing the incentive to deny and delay. You give a doctor cash on the spot, and the doctor actually charges you less because they don't have to go fight the insurance company for their money. Like, taking on big insurance is gonna be like fighting an ugly gorilla, and they're gonna fight at all costs.
All right, so that could be a big fight coming down the pipe as we start to see blockchain really moving in on this, of where we could see a lot more transparency around this. So again, technology disrupting. We've seen this in every category. We're seeing it now in finance, which I think a lot of people never thought we would see major banks move into this. And here we are today, that we've got the Bank of America CEO talking about a stablecoin. They're going to be holding this, just like if you look at what Fidelity did a couple of years ago. in bringing in the assets of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's happening, guys. So we're going to see more innovation. If you think about technology in the early stages, you got to look back at Amazon's chart all the way back to 2002. Everybody thought Amazon was dead. And of course, we know the difference right there. But this is where it came from right there. 2000 dot bomb, everybody knows that. Then, of course, Amazon relegated down to almost the bottom of where it was and absolutely exploded in overall market. Right now, this could be the kind of scenario that we saw in the 2021 high of crypto and Ethereum making its all-time highs, also nestling in on this chart. And are we in for an absolute innovation explosion? Remember, you got a lot of things playing into this. Regulation, you've got a very pro-crypto administration, and you finally have solutions being rolled out into major market sectors. This will happen in food, this will happen in banking, and this will happen in healthcare. If it does, then we are in an Amazon moment going forward. You guys keep watching on this because this is going to be a big one to keep close to. All right, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content from us, but also get into the Telegram group. It's the link right down below. I'm in there every day, chitty-chatting with you guys. I love to talk with you, and I always love to get your ideas. Always leave us a comment down there. What do you think about this idea of where we are seeing Ethereum in the future? Follow me on X, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.